Just had a really powerful life coaching session with one of my clients, and so many insights come from today's session. So I've been working with this guy for a number of months now, and there's been huge developments. But today I think he saw the progress he's made, and the changes that he actually put into place is actually taking effect now, and he's in such a better place. So last week, one of the tasks that we worked on was just the things that you have on your list that you just haven't got done. So there's always these tasks that you know you've got to do them. They're not important, they're not essential, but they're still there. And these tasks have come up a number of times on our discussions, so we went and explored it. So I got him to write down 3 things that he has had on his list, but he just hasn't got around to doing it. So he wrote them down, and then I asked him, how long have they been on your list for? There was one which was to do with finance, been on there for 12 months, one was 8 months, one was 4 months. Then we went through each one, and then we said, how long realistically would it take you to complete these tasks? And it's 8 hours, 4 hours, and 2 hours. And what come with this was that he actually doesn't have 8 hours in his day to do it. He doesn't have 4 hours in his day to do it. So he hasn't done it at all because it's not important, it's not essential. So we then looked at, when we were talking about a thing called Pomodoro, we're talking about learning, and the most effective time is if you work in Pomodoros, which is 25 minutes. And within the 25 minutes, you're laser focused on the task, you complete it, you have a break, and then within the break, you're now processing, writing down everything that you've learned. So you learn in a short space of time, you take the information on, but you can also process it. And by writing it down, it just sticks into your mind and it gives it meaning. So we then looked at the tasks that have been on this list for ages. And we said, okay, so you've got 8 hours you feel like it's going to take to complete it. How would it look as if you was to do 25 minutes in one go, 2 to 3 times a week? How long would it then take you? So all of a sudden it's taken him a year. If he just did 25 minutes a few times a week, all of a sudden that task that's just been nagging away at him in his subconscious, reminding him it still hasn't been done, he's still failing, he's still not getting stuff completed, all of a sudden he'll get it done within a few weeks. And then what he's seen from this week, so we said, okay, how do you hold yourself more accountable? How do you make this happen? So we called it a traffic light. It was a green tick or a red cross. So he agreed with me that he's going to text me each day, green tick for doing it, red cross for not doing it. It was like, right, let's give it even more meaning. Let's make a punishment and a reward for it to make it for you to want to do it. So he said, okay, I'm not allowed any more than 2 red crosses in one go. And we said, well, let's find a punishment for that. We suggested a few different things. And one of the ideas was he had to donate money to a cause that he didn't see any value in at all. And then there was other things that he said he explored over the last few weeks, trying to think what his punishment was. But his driver was not to even get to that. He didn't want that sense of failing. So to sum the session up, he reflected back on the last 2 weeks and he said, I've had a really good one. I've been working on these smaller tasks, chipping away at it, but still lots of red crosses. And what I highlighted to him, I said, last 2 weeks, I've seen the biggest growth. So first of all, we'd set the task that he agreed to. He then used me as the accountability, which is the agreement, and he actually texted me every day. It would be a green tick or a red cross. So the most powerful thing I found for that was that he actually admitted when he didn't do something. And he actually noticed, okay, well, I didn't do it today, red cross. But the second bit from that was like, right, I'm not having 2 red crosses. So the next day was always a green tick. So he reported to me every day. He noticed when he didn't do something, and he had a strategy to overcome that. So he didn't actually fail at all. So all of a sudden it's gone from, oh, I didn't do it, I got a red cross again, to I had a super successful week. I literally did what I set out to do, and I got it done. And I'm now, these lists and these things that are nagging away at me, I'm actually getting closer to completing them. And you can imagine, it's tasks that you don't enjoy doing. Imagine doing a task for 8 hours solid. Of course you're going to get distracted. But it's like facing your enemy for 8 hours straight. That's difficult. If you just face it just for 25 minutes, and know that every time you're going into it, you're just getting closer and closer from removing this out of your life. So there's a really good analogy that comes from it, that he's not actually running away from anything. He's actually dragging stuff behind with him. And I wanted you to now imagine that you've got your leg, and there's a rope connected to it, or some chains. And behind you, you've got all these problems and issues, and also the things that are happening day to day in your life. They're just dragging behind with you. What you've got to do is detach the strap from the ones that you don't need. And you've got to organise the stuff that, yeah, you do want in your life, but use it as the analogy of shopping bags. You've got loads and loads of different shopping bags. Let's make your life easier. Let's put them all into one big bag. Let's turn it into a rucksack. Actually, let me carry it, and I can focus my time on other stuff. So that was one thing that happened. The second one, which was a huge insight today as well, was tasks that you need to do, add meaning to them. And I shared a story that I learned from You Are the Placebo, Joe Dispenza book You Have to Get. It's incredible, life-changing, and you start realizing how much power you do have. And they showed a study with maids that work in hotels. They do 8-hour shifts, and they had 2 controlled study groups. They had the maids, one group, and then you had maids that were told some vital information. So the maids that continued doing their work within the rooms, the hotel rooms, they worked for 12 hours. The other maids were told and made aware that every time you're working, you're actually being more healthy to your body. You're actually exercising. You're burning more calories. You're stimulating your mind. So whilst you are working and whilst you're getting paid, you're also making yourself so much more healthier. So when they did the results after, looked at brain scans, looked at blood work, even just productivity, the group that were told that they had meaning to what they were doing, first of all, the quality of their cleaning was by far better than the other group. They all lost weight. Their blood markers and their health markers all improved. And they felt better about it, just by adding it meaning. So now start looking at your tasks, the things that you don't enjoy doing. And in my client's case, there was one where DIY, he didn't want to put up the shelves that he got. So he said, okay, I'm going to put up the shelf today, but I'm doing it because I'm learning something new. I'm doing it because there's another thing that I can remove from my list. And there's another thing that I don't have to worry about for stress. I can focus on my family, my son. So whenever you're doing anything, add meaning to the task, and you'll find it's so much easier to get stuff done. And it gives you a purpose.